welcome back to my world of stuff. My name is Paul Mount. A quick video in relation to a film I've just seen. It's Wednesday evening, 23rd of Feb, and found myself in the cinema this afternoon, catching up with a film which wasn't really on my radar to go and see because it's not in my sort of preferred genre, not in my dramatic wheelhouse, if you like. But I went to see Death on the Nile, starring Kenneth Branagh as Agatha Christie's Hercule Poirot. Now, I say it's not on my narrative wheelhouse because I'm not a massive fan of detective fiction and detective films and police things, but there's so much of that sort of stuff in British sort of entertainment at the moment. Everywhere you turn, there's a new detective series or a police series or a murder being investigated or something. And, I tend to go for something a little broader than that. But I did see Murder on the Orient Express, which came out in 2017. It was Kenneth Branagh's first turn as Poirot. It seemed like Poison Chalice in a way, because of course David Suchet has done the entire Agatha Christie Poirot canon very successfully over a number of years on television. And you sort of think, well, what was the point in revisiting this character so soon? But whether it was a passion project for him or a character he was quite keen to play, I don't know. But he did that film and he did very, very well in 2017. As I said, I saw Murder on the Orient Express. I wasn't blown away by it. And again, it's one of those things, I've never read any of the books. I never will. But obviously I know of the name of the story. I didn't really know what the story was. And I was slightly underwhelmed by that particular version of it. Of course, I don't know if these versions do reflect the original book because, of course, older stories are updated to reflect the social mores of the time they're made in. However, I ended up going to see Death on the Nile today. And really, really enjoyed it, actually. I thought it was much better than Murder on the Orient Express. It stars again Kenneth Branagh as Poirot, with again an all-star supporting cast. You've got Gal Gadot, Tom Bateman, Armie Hammer. Don't talk about him now. French and Saunders, nice to see them back on the screen. Sophie Okonedo, Russell Brand, unrecognisable. It's sort of halfway through the film I suddenly realised, that's Russell Brand. Well, of course it is. Letitia Wright, a really good cast. Emma Mackey has a really good, solid sort of star cast. In this whodunit set aboard a cruiser travelling down the Nile. The basic story is that Poirot meets up with his old friend Book, played by Tom Bateman, who apparently was in the last film, although I don't remember. And he finds himself on this cruiser for this young socialite couple who have just got married. They're played by Gal Gadot and Armie Hammer. Don't talk about him. Also on board the vessel eventually is his former partner. I think her name was Jackie, but I might be wrong. Sorry, I only saw it this afternoon. I can't remember the names of all the characters. Anyway, his former love is on there, and apparently he was in love with her. Then he met Gal Gadot's character, who's very, very rich businesswoman. And he dumped the other girl, ended up married to Gal Gadot's character. Also on board are lots of sort of family friends. His mother's very pushy and defensive, and she doesn't really approve of anybody that Book sort of hooks up with. She's played by Annette Bening in a brilliant performance. French and Saunders play this sort of ex-millionairess woman and her matron. Russell Brand, as I say, who is the slighted previous boyfriend of Gal Gadot's character, and a cast of other characters, the sort of that you always get in those sort of Cluedo drawing room type murder mystery things. And of course it all circulates around Sir Ken, as with his implausible moustache, as Poirot. The film starts off in Belgium in First World War 1914, where we see a young Ken Branagh, de-aged digitally and moustacheless, leading a troop of soldiers into battle, and using his deductive skills, he works out a way that they won't all get slaughtered when they go into battle by sending a gas attack across before the wind changes. He's not able, however, to save his captain, who dies. We next see him in hospital. He's horribly scarred. His girlfriend, his partner, comes to see him. She's played by Susanna Fielding. And he sort of turns his scarred face towards her, and she utters a line of dialogue which isn't in itself necessarily funny, but it made me laugh because it seemed, in a serious situation, she makes a suggestion which leads to the look of Poirot that we're used to. Maybe it was just me. I laughed in the cinema because it just seemed like a sort of a whack whack sort of silly line of dialogue. We then jump forward 20, 30 years later, something like that, where Poirot is now a well-established detective. He gets involved in this this journey down the Nile, and a murder takes place. There's been a murder. There's a murder. In fact, there's several murders, and he finds himself investigating in best Agatha Christie, Poirot style to find out who's conducted this murder, and then the murders which follow shortly afterwards. It's really good fun. I found this quite very engaging. I just got involved. I liked all the actors. I thought the performances were superb. It's really good to see some of these sort of stalwart actors, throwing themselves with gusto into this sort of stuff. Acting, proper acting, darling. This sort of rather florid dialogue and these terribly characters. But it all works very, very well. It all fits together very well. It's called Death on the Nile, but the whole film is filmed in Egypt. Apparently it's supposed to film in Morocco, but of course the pandemic came along and made that impossible. So it's all filmed, I believe it's all filmed on sound stages in England. And of course it's set in the Nile. So there's a lot of green screen work. There's a lot of CGI stuff. And generally it works quite well. But you're always aware that it's green screen. There's something about it that's a sort of heightened reality to it. You sort of think they're not really in the Nile, are they? And I don't know if they had some background shots or some establishing shots of the Nile that they put in, or some plates that they did. I don't know. But I certainly know that all the live action stuff was done on sound stages. And it's quite obvious in certain scenes of the ship, certain angles of the ship. It's quite clearly a ship set with a green screen all around it. It has an unreality that makes it real in a strange way, because the whole thing is slightly heightened reality. The look of it sort of fits with the story, and it's not quite a real world sort of setting, if you get my drift. I really enjoyed this. As I say, I wasn't expecting to. It's not a film I would have gone to see. I would have watched it when it arrived on streaming, because I saw the last one, but it's not one I would normally spend my pennies on. But I went out with my chum Scott today. We were hanging around like young lads do on the street corners, and we thought we'd go to the cinema, and this was the only thing that really appealed, apart from Dog with Channing Tatum, which that was never going to happen. And I had a really good time with this. It was 2 hours, gripping, engrossing. I like the plot, I like the story, I like the characters. There's some good dialogue, a nice bit of humour. I think that Ken Branagh brings a certain twinkle to Poirot. I think whether he's aware that he looks absurd with the moustache, whether he's conscious that this is sort of potboiler dramatic stuff, good potboiler stuff though, it's detective fiction, but it's well done, and I really enjoyed it. So if you're not into this sort of thing, take a punt on it. It's a good story, well told, and it's great to see a really good star cast interacting well together. And it's actually nice to see French and Saunders back together on stage, one of my favourite sort of comedy double acts back in the day. That's Death on the Nile. It's in cinemas now. It gets from me a big, chunky, murderous 8 out of 10. Solid entertainment, very much recommended. Go see it now. Right, thank you for watching. I will see you very, very soon. Till I do, you know what they say. Keep taking the stuff.